Oh, g'day. Welcome back to Griffetts Garden. So today we are going to make use of the old mulcher. It's electric, so we've got to find a power point somewhere. But we're going to mulch up some old corn stalks that have been laying around for a little bit too long, but from the corner where we got quite a few good cobs of corn. And we're also going to go out the side and pick the corn from the big box store saving exercise that we did some time ago. I'll put a link in the video, if I remember, at the end, and show some pictures along the way, if I can, of when it went in and some of the stages that it was at. Certainly on the weekend walkarounds, you'll be able to see some progress from the big box store corn that we saved from certain death. So I'm going to run this power cord and probably start mulching up some of this corn stalk material over there. We'll probably put it in a compost bin. There are some empty ones over there, the ones with the bricks or what have you on top. But the tumbler here could probably do with some green in it. I think what's in there now is quite dry and probably not composting. So get things sorted out. All right, so we've got the mulcher set up. This is not a blade mulcher. It's actually called a silent shredder. You may or may not be able to see in here. Not sure if you can see in there or not, but it is essentially a big wheel, or a cog really. It looks more like a bit like a gear really, and it just is a series of teeth that run up against a very close to a plate, and it essentially crimps or cuts everything into little chunks. Still makes a bit of noise, 93 dB apparently. I don't know if you saw that, but anyway, hopefully it's not too noisy. It's certainly not as noisy as the other types of mulches with the cutting blades. This, we'll probably end up putting it in here. This is all very dry material. There's some newspaper in there, shredded. So that'll help that get along. But that's what we got off of the previous patch. It's only about a square metre, so there was quite a bit of corn in there. Certainly got some good cobs. And if there's too much to fit into the tumbler, I guess we can start using some of these compost bins over here. So I'll make a start. Hopefully it's not too noisy. So I'm not sure if you can see that. You can see what's coming out the bottom. So now that it's off, you can see what comes out of it, and even though that's a big chunk of stalk, it's crimped heavily, some would say cut really, hanging together by a thread. So it does a very good job at introducing, lots of surface area to allow it to break down. So that's 2 stalks. Any of the old cobs that goes through, no problem at all. As long as they fit in the top, that's all. So that's how it works. I'll crack on and get the rest of them through it, put them into the compost bin, and we'll go from there. So that's probably enough for the first load. Not very much, I know, but don't have to do it all at once. Makes it easier to put in. Hopefully most of that got in there. So I'll fill this up a fair bit. Yes, there's plenty of brown in there still, in that corn, but there's still quite a bit of juice in this material, so hopefully that's enough. Well, hopefully you got the idea from that. Good little machine. And I guess there wasn't really that much there, but still. I ended up putting some in here. There's a bit of old dry stuff in there, so it'll do well with some nice fresh stuff. And I left this a little bit, left a little bit of space in this one because the new stalks that'll be a lot juicier because well, I'm going to pick the cobs off them now. They're going to have a lot more moisture in them. So spread that between the two and that'll add to the ability of the material to compost down with the extra moisture, and it's obviously a bit greener. So let's go and see what we can get off the corn patch. All right, so who remembers the big box store corn saving exercise? Here it is. Let's have a little look. It's probably a little bit overdue to be picked, but you can see, yes, they're in about a bed that's about a foot tall, but I think you can get the idea of how tall that is. I wouldn't say the stalks are that thick, to be honest. Some are thicker than others, of course. And the ones on the outsides are always going to be a little bit thinner than the other ones because they get the elements. Not as much water, I suppose. But what you can see is, if we just have a look around at all the cobs under this leaf, they're starting to burst through. So, well and truly ready. But I would say, and we're going to break one off, I would say, and get that in a good light, so I would say that that's not a bad cob of corn. Pretty happy with that for a very insipid lot of seedlings that went in here. Seedlings, yes, not seeds. I'm going to have to apologise for the light. It's probably going to be a little bit all over the shop today, but that's because we have a very bright sun behind us. It's not actually that hot. It's only about 25 degrees or something like that. It's a really nice time of year, this, in Canberra. Lows of around about 14, 15, thereabouts, Celsius. And the highs in the low to mid 20s. So really nice time of year. Anyway, we'll start picking some more and put them in a bucket and see what we got at the end. I think just looking here, I think we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 3. So there's only 15 plants or thereabouts in here. So with a bit of luck, we'll get a dozen good cobs. Well, I think that's about it. There's a couple of little bits in there, but they're not going to amount to anything. So what do we get? Well, 2, 4, 6, 7 and a bit. We'll call it 8 for now. 9, 10, 11, and another bit. We'll call it 12 for now. 13, 14, and another little bit, 15. So there's obviously some second ears on a couple of the plants, and that might explain why they're so small. That's fine. We'll see how they go for now. Open them up, see if they're worth keeping or not. If not, then corn can also go on the dog food. We very, very, very rarely buy dog food. We make it ourselves. So, that's the reason why. But anyway, there's plenty of bugs that go along with it. Obviously need to get rid of a few of those when we process these things, but pretty happy with that really for these things that were going nowhere when they were this, well, probably that big actually. Some of them went in. They were quite pale and tall. And again, in Canberra, you sadly got to grow some seedlings, and these ones went in quite late. So really surprised by how big they actually got. At this time of the year, I wouldn't have thought they would have matured so well. But anyway, another lesson learned. You would have seen when these got planted out. I'll put it on the screen as to when we planted them. I can't remember off the top of my head. So what do you think? Definitely worth saving, don't you? A good result, but you saw what preparation there was to go into that bed. So preparation is key, right? Good soil. They've had plenty of irrigation out here as well. So apart from the little bugs that are inevitable between the leaves, there was nothing else wrong with them. The 28 spot lady beetle left them alone, unlike these guys, but we've solved that problem now. So our next job, of course, is to get all this stuff out and put it in the mulcher and turn it into compost and hopefully boost some of that soil for the next growing season. Corn, as you know, has a big root system that's going to be pretty hard to break down, so we'll cut that off and put it in a green bin, which is like a wheelie bin but for green waste, and the local council, whatever it's called in your particular area. I don't even know what it's called here. It's not a council, I know that, but for all intents and purposes, it's a council. So I'm just going to pull these out like this and get as much material off the root system as I can. Then my trusty old secateurs, just cut that root ball off, ready for the mulcher. It's always a bit of a strange feeling when you empty a bed like this. It's such a transformation from what it was to what it is. There's nothing at all in there now, except potential for whatever goes next. And we know that corn is a hungry plant, right? But that's the foundation of whatever's going to go in here next. And being early autumn, not sure what that's going to be. Should be some brassicas of some sort. If nothing else, I suppose, put a cover crop in there. you would have seen from that how much juicier this is, and really how it works a little better. It's kind of broken these chunks right up now. There's still obviously some that don't go fully, but that's fine. It's not a mower. This is perfect. A little bit like crimping your hay, right? Or conditioning your grass for hay. Lets it dry out. So put that in the compost. Happy days. Well, that's the last of it. Put it in, I think I'll put it in the tumbler, only because that should work faster than the other one, and you know, the more we can put in there now, I think the better. So because there's so much dry stuff in there, you can get it in without falling up. Pretty full, but that'll settle in no time at all. Yeah, pretty happy. It all fit. Rule number one, don't have whatever left over. So shut that down. Give it a few whirls. It's obviously going to take quite a while to mix up. So we'll just have to give it a few turns every now and then, and perhaps a bit more often than now and then. But there should be enough moisture in there to get it started. And hopefully, there you go, it's already upside down. So that's all done. Just need to pack things away, but I think that's probably it for today. So thanks so much for coming along and joining me again in Griffetts Garden. Hope you enjoyed it. It's certainly rewarding when you can pick something, turn a bed into potential for the next crop, and do something good for in the compost as well. So again, thanks so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe as you please. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.